Back, everyone, after the break. Our next presenter is from Indonesia, Anissa Kirana Diniari, and she's going to present on innovative e-worksheets for climate change education, leveraging guided inquiry and Google Sites to enhance students' critical thinking skills. So the stage is yours, Anisha. Don't forget your microphone.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be a presenter in this international conference on digital educational methodology, the future of teaching, the future of learning by Dennis Gabor University 2025. And this paper title is Innovative E-Worksheet for Climate Change Education, Leveraging Guided Inquiry and Google Sites to Enhance Student Critical Thinking Skill. And this is what my research has been looking at. The first one is research background. First is the characteristic of 21st century learning requires student-centered learning and constructivism using teaching materials during the learning process. The learning process tends to be teacher-centered, which causes students to be less interactive, lazy to learn, feel bored, and do not understand the concept of the material given by the teacher during the learning process. This is a current educational problem that requires student-centered learning. One solution that can make it easier for teachers to carry out student-centered learning process is using engaging and interactive teaching materials or media by utilizing technological advances. And the second is facing the Industrial Revolution 4.0, resulting in increasingly rapid technological development in Indonesia, which also requires progress in the field of educational technology. And the third is the results of PISA 2022 show that Indonesia ranking has increased by 5 to 6 positions compared to PISA. The factor that caused the increase in PISA score in 2022 can improve the quality of education in Indonesia. In addition, one of the abilities that can encourage students to excel in PISA scores is critical thinking skills that are honed through the learning process. And the last is reviewing the Sustainable Development Goals report in Indonesia. In 2024, Indonesia is ranked 78 out of 167 countries participating in the Sustainable Development Goals sustainable program. Based on this data, awareness of climate change management in Indonesia is not yet optimal, so the contribution of all components in Indonesia is needed to support climate change management actions, including the education component. And the identification of problems, the first one is the e-worksheets in circulation is less effective due to the development of science and technology. Student level of understanding is still oriented towards aspect C1, remembering, and C2, understanding, which the central skills do not achieve. And the learning model teachers often use is less in line with constructivist learning, and the last is classroom learning that hasn't collaborates biology subject matter with sustainable development goals issues. So this is the research purpose. This study aims to produce e-worksheets based on guided inquiry on the SDGs climate change issues assisted by Google Sites to train students critical thinking by looking at the feasibility of using and the response of teachers and students to the e-worksheet. The research is based on the change in educational paradigm in the independent curriculum, or in Indonesia is curriculum merdeka, which is a transition from initially teacher-centered learning to student-centered learning. The change that occur require that the learning process in this classroom be active, which can be supported by the right learning approach and teaching materials. One of the relevant and student-centered approaches is the guided inquiry-based approach using e-worksheets teaching materials assisted by Google Sites. E-worksheets are applied to environmental change material related to the SDGs climate change issues. Thus, this research is formulated to produce innovative worksheets for climate change education, leveraging guided inquiry and Google Sites to enhance student critical thinking skills. Okay, we're going to the next slide about methods. The trial research of the worksheets is use methods with the research and development method R&D. According to Sugiono, is a research approach to produce a particular product by testing the effectiveness of the resulting product. The development model used is IDDIE, one of the systematic learning design models oriented towards the theoretical basis of learning design. This model consists of 5 stages, namely, the first one is analyze, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. Okay, the first stage is analyze. This stage is teacher interviews and student questionnaire. The research conducted at the analyze stage is an observation related to using a worksheet based on guided inquiry, and the observation was carried about by analyzing references and literature studies in a journal, books, or other sources related to a worksheet development. And we go to the next slide. The results and discussion based on the results of the analysis of interviews with biology tutors for grade 10, it can be concluded that a worksheet assisted by Google Sites can support the implementation of the independent curriculum or curriculum Merdeka in Indonesia with the main principle of being student-centered. And the material in schools that is linked to the SDGs issues is rarely done, especially in the environmental change material, where in previous learning, the material relates to the SDGs issues of climate change. Therefore, teaching materials are needed that can link the SDGs issues to the material in schools. And the last result and discussion in part of analyze is students need critical thinking skills and can be trained during the learning process with the learning model used by the teacher, one of which is the guided inquiry learning model. And this is the e-worksheet product display assisted by Google Sites. Okay, wait. And uh, let me show you all about the innovative e-worksheet product assisted by Google Sites, please. Okay, this is the product of innovative e-worksheet assisted by Google Sites. This is the menu page, and this is okay. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Here, this is the page of pretest page. This is a pretest page, and this is the learning activities one, or in Indonesia is LKPD. Yes. Okay. There is the stage, and this is the learning activities two. It's the same look, and this is the post test. The student can access the Google form by just when access the link, and this is the material summary. Okay, the student can read all of the material without access another link, just one link. Okay. So the result of the development stage in this study includes activities to produce product in the form of an e-worksheet assisted by Google Sites that are suitable for use in the learning process by going through the teaching material validation process. and the result of the development stage is very worthy, and the average percentage is 92%. And the result of a worksheet readability response by student is very readable, the criteria, and the percentage is 94%. So based on the pre-test and post-test data in table study learning outcomes, it can be seen that the normally test gain score or end gain score data results can be reviewed from the results of the pre-test and post-test of students. And the development eruption media is stated by Google Sites at the implementation stage in this study can be recommended for a more ideal effectiveness test, namely using a quasi-experimental design for further research. So this is the documentation while the data is full, and the concept of the evaluation stage includes assessing the quality of the product with the learning process and general procedures for determining evaluation criteria, selecting evaluation tools, and conducting revisions. The results of the evaluation stage, namely the evaluation plan in which in this study, each stage starting from analyze, design, development, and implementation will reveal the essence of the results of each stage and the shortcomings of the development stage with the aim of reflection and recommendation for future research. So the conclusion is based on the research, the final product has been produced as a worksheet based on guided inquiry. So to train students critical thinking with very feasible criteria, and the developed worksheets have gone through validation stage with the final validation value obtained by media experts, material language, and the practitioners. And the category is very feasible and very readable. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your kind attention.
Anisha, you probably can't hear the applause, but people did. Okay, so thank you very much for your
Thank you.
presentation. I have just one
Thank you.
question, and if there will be more from the audience because of the technology, we'll send it to you. I would like to ask you how you are planning to develop this project. How will you further develop the project? Do you have any ideas? Okay, we'll send you the question then, okay? And we'll share with the audience later. Thank you very much for staying up. What's the time in Indonesia now?
It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Yes, it's night
I think.
in here.
Okay, so have a rest. Thank you very much for being with us.
Okay, thank you very much to the Bordenese Egypt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you. It was very sweet. Actually, she's a student, and I think she cooperated with her mentor, and she presented it. So this